Hi, Scott. How are you doing today?
I'm all right today. How are you?
Good, good. Scott, I appreciate you joining me. And if you can just tell me a little bit about your practice, about you, and how you got into this realm.
Yeah. So I've been in practice for 32 years.
Okay.
I'm an Ohio State Bar Association board certified family law specialist. I'm also honored to be a fellow in the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers.
Wow.
Which is the proudest achievement of my career. I have 4 associates that work with me that all, like me, exclusively do domestic relations work. I fell into doing domestic relations work completely by chance after undergrad, when I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do, although I thought about law school at some point. I was managing men's clothing stores here in Columbus, and one of my clients was Harry Lewis, God rest his soul, who was one of the preeminent divorce lawyers in Columbus, if not Ohio. And then finally, at one point, with his sort of thick Brooklyn accent, he pulled down his glasses and said, "You're wasting your time here, hawking all this dreck. You got some gray matters up here. You go to law school and you come work for me."
Oh, wow.
So I took his advice. I stopped selling men's clothes. I went to law school and I clerked for Harry for 2 years. And that's how I learned domestic
What an
relations.
experience. Wow.
Yeah, complete. I say it's a lark. I don't really believe in coincidence, but yeah, that's how I got into doing domestic relations work. So when I graduated, I just hung out my own shingle, and a lot of what I did was domestic work because that's what I'd learned how to do during my 3 years of law school. So, and here I am today.
Wow.
I've got 3 other partners that do other areas of practice. Yeah, that's how I'm here.
What men's clothier was it?
It was Gentry Shops,
Okay.
which
Remember
was
those?
Cincinnati-based company that were expanding when I was working for them. They were expanding to they had 2 stores in Chicago and a store in St. Louis and stores in Cleveland. And they had actually approached me at one point about taking over the Chicago stores. And I was having my debate about doing that. And it was all in about that time that Harry had said, "Stop hawking clothes and go to law school." So I
Took his
think
advice. That's wonderful. I'm
think
sure
in
many
God's
of
good
your clients
providence.
are thrilled that you took that advice.
Well, I hope that's true. So thank you.
Obviously, each divorce is a unique journey, and you have a unique set of individuals involved and situations. But if somebody was just starting on the journey of divorce or contemplating divorce, and in that first meeting with them, what are some of the things that you tell them?
Well, the first thing I tell them is I hope you never hire me. And if you need resources to try to help you and your spouse try to work through whatever issues you have, then please leave. I've got resources that I can give you. So
Wonderful.
And I say that earnestly.
Mm-hmm.
When I became a divorce lawyer, my daddy, with his 6th grade education from the hills of Kentucky, said, "Scotty, don't be a divorce broker." And I said, "Daddy, I never will." So I always make sure that this is a decision that someone really wants to make.
Right.
Now, sometimes when they come in, they're just like, they may be like, I don't know if this is what's going to happen. I don't know if this is what my spouse wants, or maybe they're just unsure and they're sort of fact finding. So at that point, what I tell them is, let's try to get as much of the financial information as you can get. So obviously, part of what the initial thing we do in any divorce, whether they're children or not, is to try to start putting together a marital balance sheet of assets and liabilities, and try to gather as much of those original documents as you can, including tax returns. a dynamic that I see pretty commonly is that there's one side that's I call the economically knowledged funded side, and then the economically unknowledged.
There's always
Side.
a disparity there, almost always.
Yeah. So and that's not to be pejorative to the unknowledged side. There are people that have completely perfect relationships, and somebody pays the bills in the house and somebody else takes care of all the investments. In candor, that's my house. I don't pay the bills.
Well, you have to divvy up the tasks, the household day-to-day tasks. And so naturally, you're not going to both sit down and pay all the bills together and discuss it. That just doesn't happen very often. So
yeah, when I talk to clients, I don't want them to feel bad if they happen to be the spouse that's the knowledge unfunded side. And the example I always give is, you both don't make soup at the same time, right?
right.
You have to allocate household resources, and you don't both mow the grass at the same time. So over the years, I that's sort of disarmed people, because sometimes they feel foolish, like I don't know how much money my husband makes. I don't know how much money my wife has in her bank account. So I hope that helps.
No, that absolutely does. And now, do you focus primarily on collaborative law? Do you do all types of marital law? What is your focus on?
Yeah, so I'm a board certified family law specialist. So as part of that, I do a lot of collaborative law. I'm also honored to be a certified mediator by the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers, as well as being a certified arbitrator by the American Academy of Matrimonial
Wow.
Lawyers. So I do a lot of mediation work. I've got a growing practice of arbitration work. I'm a litigator, so if a case has to be litigated, so I can touch all of those bases as I'm getting into the later part of my career, and I'm gathering really smart, competent associate lawyers that will in the future be partners of mine. My practice is sort of moving away from certain types of cases. A lot of the cases that I take on are business owners, high income, high asset, professional athletes. So there are a lot more of those, which is not to say that I don't represent,
Right.
a secretary for the city of Columbus. I do, but percentage wise, the majority of my cases are business owners, corporate executives.
More complex cases.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. But we've got, 4 other people in the office that are skilled to do those same kinds of things. But because of their tenure in the practice is less than mine, hourly rates are different. So I think when someone comes in, if, given my tenure, and you can't see it, but all that stuff on the wall over there that says that I'm great, so my hourly rate's the highest. So
Right.
So we've got options for people.
Perfect. And in your many years, is there one case that stands out as, someone you were able to help and felt so great about it, or someone that, positive or negative, that really stays with you?
Well, actually, early on in my career, and I won't mention her name, she was a highly compensated executive at a major corporation in downtown Columbus. And she was highly sophisticated, financially attuned. And that was really the first case that I had where, one of the first cases, I'll say, where there were those sort of assets and the emotional things that were going on and the conflict. She made me a better lawyer. And just the way she would kindly say, you communicated this to me, but you didn't communicate this part. Here's maybe a better way to communicate that with me. And I've taken that to this day of trying to be really copious about notes that I take, which gives me the right to forget things, so that I can go to my notes and things are all there. So there were a lot of those things where she really helped me. And conversely, as a result of this really bitter divorce that she went through, she actually left corporate America and became a counselor.
Oh, wow.
And now works with families and people that are going through what I called restructuring your family, which is when people ask me what I do, I say, you know, I help people restructure their family for a living. And I'm like, well, I'm a divorce lawyer. And that woman I still work with today as someone in cases for counselors, either for individual counseling or for family counseling. So that's probably the best thing that happened to my career, and for her,
It sounds
the
like
best
for
thing
her.
that happened to her career.
Yes, yes, absolutely. What a great transition for her. I mean, and for both of you, that's wonderful. I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me, and look forward to meeting again in person. And if I can, you know, do anything to help you or any of your, you know, clients, I'm here for you. But if somebody wants to get in touch with you, Scott, what's the best way to reach you?
The best way is either to call my office at 614-764-0681. Missy, my work wife, keeps my schedule for me. As you well know from
Yes,
this,
yes.
she doesn't allow me to touch my schedule, because if I do, I screw it up. So reach out to Missy to schedule a meeting or a call with me, or people are always free to send me an email, which is scott@ohiolawyersgroup.com. And then they can send me what their issues are. And then if it's to schedule an appointment with someone, I direct it to Missy, who's over that way through that wall, and she takes care of everything else.
Perfect, perfect. Well, Scott, I really appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you soon.
That sounds great. Erin, great to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Sure.
it. Tell Missy thank you too.
I will. Bye.
Bye.